noise. Well, welcome everyone. I'm sure people will sort of join us over the next couple of minutes, but thank you for everyone who was here a little bit early with us as we were getting ready to start. This is our second ever Clean Beauty Masterclass. We're very excited that people wanted more. We're very happy to keep doing these for our fans, our customers, our audience and community. And tonight we have a very special guest, the Amy Mallon. She'll introduce herself in a moment. But if you haven't joined us before, we'll go through a demonstration of products. We'll talk about Jane Iredale at length, it'll be very informal, very fun, and we'll walk through a demonstration as well as just give you some sort of insider tips and tricks. If at any time you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A feature on Zoom or enter into the chat. We will get to them. We'll only be here for about 30 or 40 minutes, but if we didn't answer you now, we'll follow up with you later. And then we also, if you submitted a question earlier, we'll get to that. But without further ado, Amy, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I would love to. So first of all, I want to start out and say welcome to Beverly. Beverly says this is her first Zoom. So I just want to say thank you so much for making our Zoom be your first Zoom. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Welcome.
As Katie mentioned, yeah, I'm Amy Mallon. I'm the Director of Artistry and Education here at Jane Iredale. I am a licensed esthetician. I'm oncology certified, so I've done a lot of work with cancer patients in the skincare space, and actually started my career in makeup almost 2 decades ago. So it's been quite a while, but have always loved makeup, have been an ingredient junkie my whole life. And so started in makeup, then moved into the treatment room, and then have worked in so many different capacities in beauty, ranging from a territory manager to a national makeup artist and educator, a global educator, director of communication, marketing manager, you name it, I've done it. And I am so fortunate now to have been with Iredale for about 2 years. It's the perfect place to combine my passions of makeup, beauty, and clean living. And our team here is just absolutely phenomenal. And we're just so excited for today's class in particular, because this really is the heartbeat of our brand as a whole. And we'll speak to why that is in just a bit as well. But Katie, did you want to introduce yourself as well?
Thank you. And I also wanted to say, Lynette, yes, there is the poster, and we're small right now, but we won't be the whole time. But I am Katie Callahan. I am Jane Iredale's digital and social media manager. So anything you kind of see with our blog or on any of our socials sort of coming through my way. I work extensively with lovely Amy here, and I'm always bothering her because she's a font of knowledge and always looks wonderful doing it. So I'm very happy to be with everyone tonight and get into the products and also learn a lot with you as well.
All righty, well, let's jump on in, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so I know we have gotten a ton of questions, Katie.
We have. So I was going to ask, do you think we should start off with our primer and then jump into questions so we're primed for more, if you will?
Let's do it. So I have to say, and Katie, which one have you chosen today?
So I have the old packaging, but I'm using the Smooth Affair Brightening, which is no one asked me, but it's my favorite Jane Iredale product.
Perfect. Okay, so priming. This is a question we get a lot. Why do I need a primer? Why do I use a primer? Why is a primer important to my makeup regimen? Well, if you think about priming a house for paint or getting your nails done, applying that base coat, the primer is really what starts the process. It gives you that perfect canvas by which to start from to apply your makeup. It assists with any fine lines, any wrinkles, any texture, and it also helps to increase the longevity of your makeup. Now, the great thing, I'm going to go ahead and start applying.
I couldn't wait.
Our primers is that they're immensely popular. So the primer that Katie just applied, our original Smooth Affair Brightening formula, actually one is sold every 4 minutes worldwide. It is hugely popular. And when you think about, so Jane Iredale, if you don't know, we are the original skincare makeup. And the products we're going to be talking about today are really what put us on the map, really what solidified Jane as that person that pioneered the clean beauty movement. But, you know, we, in addition to that, we have vegan formulas, we're cruelty free. Our products go through extensive milling and testing processes. We're manufactured in the US, there's no parabens. So there's all kinds of exciting things to say about Jane Iredale as a brand. But back to my initial point. So the Smooth Affair Brightening Formula really is that quintessential skincare makeup product. If you look at the ingredient deck behind this product, it is extensive. And the ingredients that it has are those that just not only feel heavenly on your skin, but they're treating your skin for the long haul as well. So you truly see that immediate benefit of you know, that visible smoothing to the skin, hydration. But again, it also not only helps your makeup to stay on, but it treats it over time. So we have ingredients like royal jelly, green tea, white tea, coconut alkanes for the slip. The list really goes on and on. And so because of that popularity, we just launched our newest primer, which is what I'm using today, which is our Smooth Affair Illuminating Glow. And
it won't pick up on the screen in the package.
I know. Well, hopefully the glow that it gives my skin will.
I was going to say, even the brightening, my skin is already brighter than when we started, because you and I don't have any base makeup on.
Yes, that formula is amazing for that kind of instant transition. We have a lot of people who just wear our primers alone because, again, not only do they feel heavenly, but they also just have such an instant gratification effect on the skin.
And they smell wonderful too. And they just feel good on the skin. It feels like you're putting a treatment on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that formulation in particular really does. Illuminating Glow is actually scentless, but it does have hyaluronic acid. So we're really thoroughly hydrating the skin. Ingredients like shea butter, which is going to increase longevity. It has some mica in it for just that really nice little glow enhancement. So it's almost like a pick your poison situation.
Exactly. It's beautiful. Look at that. That glow just sort of shows up right away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. And then, of course, we have our oily skin formula as well, which is fantastic for helping to calm down on any oil production and assisting with the mattification process for those who have oily skin.
And we've already gotten some great questions. So I applied it with my fingers. Normally I would use a brush, but I left it in the other room and didn't want to go get it. But do you have a preference, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, so this is our foundation brush that I've used. This is certainly a product you can apply with fingers if you'd like. The other brush that I love to use with this is our blending contour brush. And on that note, all of our brushes are vegan. They're all synthetic, so you can actually use them with liquids, powders, or creams, just depending on what your preference is.
Yeah, that's a great question. Glad you asked that. It just feels nice. Like, it doesn't feel sticky or anything like that. Like it's sort of like my skin could be fine without makeup, or I could just wear this and be good to go. So what's next in our demo here? A little get ready with me, Amy.
So next, we're going to follow the pattern of what we like to call our power of 3. And in our power of 3, we actually have 4 items. So we cheat a little bit here. But the first one is always primer, which I know I applied my skincare underneath. Katie, I'm assuming that you did too. For that, I actually used our hyaluronic acid serum and our Beauty Prep moisturizer. So first step in power of 3 is primer. Second step is going to be foundation. And for us today specifically, we are focusing, as you know, on our powder formulas. So let's talk a little bit about powder, shall we?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, perfect. So having worked extensively in mineral makeup, we get a lot of mixed feedback about minerals. There are a lot of common misconceptions about mineral formulas. A lot of people think they're going to be drying or irritating on their skin, or that, you know, they're difficult to apply. So we just are here to set the record straight.
Mhm.
So we're really going to be focusing today on our Amazing Base formula, which initially came in or comes in this component that you see here. So it comes in the sifter. So you lift this off and then the product is dispensed out the top here. Now, this is the ultimate first product in the line. This is the ultimate green, clean beauty product. So 27 years ago, it was this little sifter that started not only our brand, but the clean beauty movement as a whole. So exactly. So Jane Iredale really had the foresight to know that there had to be another way. She was working with a lot of clients. They were experiencing a lot of skin conditions that were specifically related to the makeup that was being applied to their skin. And so the concept came to her as an epiphany, and she created Amazing Base in her kitchen. And what happened was, it didn't have a name at the time, but she would apply it to people's skin and use it post-treatment or post-facial, and people would have the same reaction. And that reaction was to say, my skin looks
amazing.
Amazing. And so that really is how Amazing Base got its name. Now, I have to say, this is one of the most versatile products that we offer. I remember, when we were kind of contemplating the reimagining of this product, and we were thinking about all the ways that it can be used. It's almost like a little black dress foundation.
Yeah.
There are 4 ways, exactly, that we use this predominantly. And, the first one is foundation, of course, powder, concealer, and then it also functions as an SPF because of the mineral. But I want to point out that not all minerals are created the same. And, they do start off as a rock, but they are all from different sources. Our minerals really are at the top of the line. Not only that, but in this little guy, or frankly, in our pressed compact as well, what you'll find is that there's pure mineral pigment. So we don't use any fillers. There's no buffering agents. For those of you who don't know, talc is usually one of the first 2 ingredients listed on traditional cosmetics, and there are a lot of issues associated with it. It can fall into fine lines and wrinkles. It can really exacerbate skin conditions like acne and rosacea. And so Jane was really one of the first people to formulate without using that ingredient. And so because of that, because we don't have any fillers, we don't have any buffering ingredients in our formulas, it truly is a pure pigment that just has this gorgeous, creamy feel on the skin. Now, part of this is because of the proprietary milling process that it goes through. And so each of our minerals is broken down. So that's how you create mineral makeup. You take a rock and it's broken down and kind of pulverized many times. Ours is done in a way that it's considered a micronized mineral. So there are what's called nano-sized minerals and micronized. And the micronized minerals really are that perfect fit. They lay on top of the skin, almost like fish scales, so that they still allow your skin to breathe, but that you're not experiencing any issues and it's not falling into your skin.
Right.
Now, the other thing to know is that what I love about our products is that every single product that we sell has some type of skincare benefit. And we'll talk about what those benefits are in just a moment, but that's a huge, huge, huge point of distinction for our brand. So these minerals are not only protective with physical sun protection, but they also have antioxidant capabilities because of the ingredients that we use, and they're going to be really nourishing and protective to the skin.
Exactly right. I know we've been chatting and we haven't done any of our demo. I've just been on the edge of my seat listening, but let's see, have we gotten any more questions? Are the minerals ethically sourced and mined?
Yes, they are.
Yes, great question, Linda. So I guess what we've given our nice background, our very I feel like a scientist, a geologist talking about mining, but would you care to speak to the new innovation with our Amazing Base?
I would love to.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we have our original sifter, right? So you would apply this using your chisel powder brush, right? So you pick up the product with the brush and then lay it onto your skin in a downward motion. The other option that we now have is our new refillable brush. So the exciting thing about this is that for those of you who've been with the line or who know the line or who've seen the line, you may know that last summer we launched our Powdery SPF in this refillable brush. And we were overwhelmed by its popularity. And the reason that it was so popular is because this is, first of all, a convenient, a sustainable, a washable, refillable brush. And let me show you how that works. So the way you use this is you remove the top, and then in the bottom here is a little cartridge. So when you purchase one of these, you actually get 2 cartridges with it, and then you can purchase refills later on. So this little cartridge is actually recyclable. I don't know if you can see this, but so much thought went into the details of this brush. So if you look at this, you can see that this printing here was actually laser etched on. And the reason for that is because that was the way that it was able to be recycled. So we really thought about every single detail. So that is twisted into the bottom of the brush. And then the brush itself has kind of 2 different indicators here. So one of them is unlocked and one of them is locked. So you'll turn the brush all the way up into the locked position and you can hear it click. I don't know if you guys could hear that.
I heard yours.
And then the product is actually dispensed here through the center out the top. The great thing about this brush is that, of course, it's convenient, right? You can put the lid on it, you can throw it in your bag, you don't have to worry about it, but it's also washable. So you can just remove this brush, wash it, and then replace it right back on the top here. And the brush itself is vegan, luxury, hand-tied. It was actually modeled after our kabuki brush. So it really is the perfect, it's a little bit smaller version, but it's great for kind of fitting into all the nooks and crannies. And so I'm just going to go ahead and apply because this is so close to my face that I want to get it on there. But what you'll find is that, so using the sifter will give you kind of a more targeted application. So you can really get some thorough coverage in areas if you need to. This guy is kind of a more all over buildable coverage and also really great for touch-ups.
And so I like it. It's really easy for me to like come down on my neck and get my ears, I found as well, which I'll sometimes neglect with SPF in the morning. So
absolutely.
And Sherry just asked a great question. Do we need to prime the brush?
So that is a great question. So when you first receive the brush, you may need to prime it. The way that you do that is just shake the product downward and then it should come out. What we've noticed, Katie and I were just discussing this earlier today, actually. So I live in Denver, which is a very arid climate. It's really dry here. And so powder tends to flow a lot more smoothly here. In places that are more humid, you might find that you need to do a little bit more priming.
Exactly.
By the way, I'm applying a lot of product, so you don't actually need this much. I went to Hawaii last week, so I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation that I'm sure you can see that I'm covering here.
No, I don't think so. But I was going to say it's humid in New York this summer. It's always humid in New York in the summer. But I haven't had any issues priming it. I can tap it out a little bit. And Amy and I were going to talk about that in just a moment. Some extra tips on how to use the brush. But look at that already. I mean, I'm less red. I love this thing.
So the great thing about Amazing Base is that it is it gives a luminous finish. So it's a little bit more of a dewier look to the skin. but it's still very natural. So all of our mineral formulas are going to look like you don't have any product on your skin. It's just going to look like your skin, but better. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but this is a physical sun protective product. So we actually have 8 products that are recommended by the Skin Cancer Foundation for daily use. And this is one of them. So depending on the shade, it's either an SPF 15 or an SPF 20 in the lighter shades.
Exactly.
And
we've gotten
then
great questions that are SPF related. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I misread. So Jan, I'm wearing the shade, this is light beige that I'm wearing. And what shade are you wearing, Amy?
So I'm wearing this, but as I mentioned, I was on vacation last week, so I'm a little darker than I typically am. And even though, trust me, this guy didn't leave my hand.
And something I actually learned from Jane Iredale herself is that minerals are very forgiving in terms of the color. So I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit, Amy, if you wouldn't mind.
They absolutely are. And part of that is because we don't use any fillers or buffering agents, as I mentioned. So the main colorant in Amazing Base is iron oxide. So it's an actual mineral. The percentages of the iron oxides are more balanced because there's room in the ingredient deck to kind of play with that. And so because of that, what you find is that, as you said, Katie, they're very forgiving. The other thing is, if you do have any redness in your skin, using a foundation that has more of a yellow base or warm base will help neutralize that. So we have all of our products categorized as warm or yellow, cool or more red toned, which is the category that Katie would fall into, or neutral, which is typically what I would be. So kind of that peachy, are you warm, are you cool, you're kind of in the middle. Yeah. The sun protection, I just want to go into that for a second, comes from zinc and titanium dioxide. Again, both minerals. The great thing about that is that it's physical only. So that means that this product is actually reef safe. So we're not affecting any of the world's coral reefs with this, which is wonderful.
Yes. And you were just in Hawaii, so perfect.
Yes. And zinc and titanium are both soothing and calming and anti-inflammatory ingredients. So I know Katie's mentioned that since using this, we'll give your own personal experience. Katie.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I have some eczema that I have some on my hand, and sometimes I'll get it on my eyelid. And I accidentally found that this product in particular, and this brush, has been helping with it. It takes out the redness, it makes it less itchy, which was a wonderful sort of discovery I stumbled upon, but it's very soothing. I don't have any kind of issues where it's itchy. And I know you mentioned about talc, which can cause a problem, but this doesn't have any talc. So it's been a wonderful experience for me. But we did get a couple more questions in that everybody's asking great questions, and we'll get to some of the ones that were already submitted. But
on that note, Katie, our products are sensitivity tested, and they're also tested by dermatologists for irritancy. So they're really beneficial for people who have any type of skin condition, because again, they're going to be really soothing and calming. But zinc and titanium in particular are both great ingredients for people who have any kind of redness, erythema, or inflammation in their skin.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to these questions real quick. All right. So we answered which shade do we wear. Susan wanted to know if there are any translucent cartridges other than the Powder Me SPF.
Yeah, so Powder Me SPF does also come in the same component. We don't have any other formulas that are translucent. Powder Me does come in translucent. And the reason is because it is a much more sheer formula. So this is much more coverage focused. That's much more about, the sun protection and a little tint. And that one comes in 4 shades.
Yeah. And we're getting some questions about the shades in particular. And one thing I wanted to call out now is I'm going to send through a link where you can find your local store. So if you are curious about how to get shade matched, you can find your local store and someone will be able to help you that way. But Melissa asked, do the new products come in the same colors as the pressed version? And we're talking about Amazing Base, the loose minerals, but it is 1-to-1 for the brush and the sifter, correct?
It is, yes, absolutely. Now, with that said, so Amazing Base comes in 20 shades now with the 7 new additions. By the way, we just launched 7 new
I
additions.
know we didn't mention that, and they're all beautiful shades.
Yes, we extended the range into the dark and deeper category, which we're very excited about. So much more to offer when it comes to our original formulation. And then as well, we have our Purepress, as you know. So this one comes in 26 shades. So all of the best-selling shades from Purepress are now available in Amazing Base. With that said, it should be a one-to-one transition. However, because of the way that Amazing Base is milled, you might find that it's a tad bit darker on your skin than Purepress is. That's not always the case, but I would recommend, starting with the same shade and then kind of seeing from there.
Great.
How long does the SPF protection last before you need to reapply? So great question. So our products are actually tested. They go through SPF testing. And with that, we do a water resistance test. So they're water resistant up to 40 minutes. Yes, we do have someone float in a pool for 40 minutes to test these out. And then we do recommend reapplying every 2 hours if you are going to be out in the sun.
Which is why I love this product so much, because I just throw it in my purse. I'm surprised it's still in pretty good shape because I put my handbag through a lot, and I just apply it throughout the day every couple of hours if I'm out and about. But that is a great question, Mara, and we'll get to a few of the ones that people already submitted in just a moment. But before we do, Karen asked, how do I figure out what my skin tone is? And that was, I think, in relation to what we were talking about a couple minutes ago.
Great question. Yeah. So first of all of the professionals that Katie mentioned would be really beneficial to help you figure this out. But if you look at your skin and it looks more yellow or olive, chances are you have a warm undertone. If your skin is more pink or mauve or red, then chances are you have a cool undertone. Now, with that said, the majority of the global population has warm undertones, meaning when you look at them, they have kind of a yellow tint to their skin. It's very, very rare to find someone who's truly cool. So Katie, you are a unicorn.
Thank you so much. I was going to say, I never knew that. Wow.
And then for those people in between, like myself, so if you look at me and you say, I don't know, is your skin warm? Is it cool? It looks kind of peachy. You're almost in that in-between category. I would be a neutral. So that's kind of right in between. So if you, are unsure, I would say that the majority of people are warm, but warm to neutral. So I would kind of choose one of the two.
That's a great question. And I think we can chat a little bit more through SPF because we got a bunch of questions submitted, and then Lori asked a good one as well. So we can kick that off here before we get into some more product demos. Does the SPF or SPF in general expire? Many products recommend not using it after a year.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you look at, I'm trying to find a box here.
Yeah.
So if you locate the box that your products come in, on the back of it, if they're Jane Iredale products, we have this little symbol here, which is essentially, it looks almost like a jar with the lid off. This is what's known as the PAO. I was going to say POA. PAO. The PAO is the period after opening. And there's a little number here as well. So this one, this is for our Glow Time sticks. It says 12M. What that means is that this product is good for 12 months after opening. So I would do a little assessment of the products that you have. They're not going to be dangerous after that time, but you probably won't have the same user experience. So we would always recommend replacing them after that period of time.
That's a great question. Yeah. And speaking of SPF, in terms of your routine, and I know we got a little bit off subject of talking about the power of 3, but when do you apply SPF? Maybe in your morning routine, and we talked a little bit about reapplying, but I'd love to hear you speak to that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it depends on what type of SPF it is that you're applying.
Mhm.
So the rule of thumb, if you have ever worked with an esthetician, I'm sure that they've told you this, rule of thumb with any skincare products is that you apply them in order of consistency. So you always want to start with kind of the thinnest product and then go to the thickest. Now, typically with a liquid sunscreen, you're going to be applying that SPF after you've already applied most of your skincare. So you've done your serums, you've applied your moisturizer, then you're putting your SPF on, and then your makeup. The great thing to know about a mineral SPF is that it's really almost your last step. So this is going to go on as your foundation, our Powder Me SPF, and even the Amazing Base Refillable Brush. These are things that you can reapply throughout the day. So there's really no limit to the amount of time that you apply them or where you apply them in your regimen, other than it's usually going to be on the later end. All right, so I'm going to go back for a second. I know we're getting so many great questions, but to our power of 3, because we've applied our primer, we've applied our foundation, and now we really just need to set everything. So as I mentioned, I live in Colorado. It's very dry here. I need a little spritzy spritz. So for this purpose, oh my gosh.
Are we both using D2O?
So we have many different hydration sprays. The great thing about these is that minerals by nature love hydration. And so anytime they come into contact with anything hydrating, they're going to plump up and look almost like a second skin. Now, this process happens organically, but this is just going to expedite that process. D2O is one of my favorites because it has ylang ylang, which just smells heavenly and has a lot of really great soothing capabilities for your skin, but this one has chamomile as well, which is just fantastic.
So soothing, so boring.
The other thing to know about these, oh, it's so soothing. We also recommend in the summer months like this, keeping these in the refrigerator because they're going to help to kind of cool down your skin. Exactly. The other great thing about these is that they're made with distilled water. And so distilled water doesn't have any minerals in it. And so that even further locks our foundations onto your skin. And you can see what a huge transition that made. So all I have on is the primer and the mineral powder, and you can see just that lovely glow that my skin has. Now, because of the milling process, our powders feel like a cream on your skin and they look so glowy and luminous. But I just want to point out one of the biggest concerns people have for powder foundations is that they're going to fall into lines and wrinkles. They're going to make people look older. And again, because it's such a finely milled mineral without any fillers or buffering agents, that does not happen with our formulas, especially if you're using them in conjunction with the power of 3. So anyway, we can jump back into the questions. I just had to share.
I'm glad you did. The hydration sprays, I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. I know I said it's Smooth Affair, but it might actually be a hydration spray. It might be my desert island pick. You already mentioned this a little bit about mineral powder settling into fine lines. How can you prevent that from happening? And I think sort of related to that, do the mineral powders work on mature skin? And would you say there's any sort of age limit for using minerals?
All big questions.
Yeah.
So
heavy hitting questions tonight.
So firstly, no. There is no age limit. Women and men of all ages use our products and love them. I would say to avoid, so I already talked about the formula is a huge reason why you don't have the effect of them falling into lines or exacerbating lines or wrinkles. But the other thing is you don't need much product. Again, it's a very concentrated mineral. It's that pure pigment. And so what you'll find is that a little bit goes a very long way with all of our formulas. And so you don't need to take on any additional product to get the coverage that you might with other formulations. And that is something that's so beneficial about mineral powders in particular.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Not that I would ever fall asleep in makeup. Never, ever, ever. But maybe if I have, my skin experienced no issues when I slept in my Amazing Base. But I would never do that.
and when you did.
Yes, if and or someone else I know did. Let's see here. Oh, this is a great question. And I feel like this has come up with the launch specifically of the Amazing Base Brush.
I'm just going to apply my glow time.
Oh, go for it. Yes, I know we're supposed to be getting ready for our night out or our night in. Is there a reason or a situation where you would use Amazing Base versus the pressed version? And I think Melissa meant the Purepress base.
Yeah, absolutely. So formulations are very, very similar. Amazing Base, and we mentioned this earlier, Amazing Base is going to give a little bit more of a dewy finish. It's going to look more luminous on the skin. So if you like to look dewy or glowy, this is going to be a great formula for you, or again, in the brush. And then Purepressed is a semi-matte finish. So because of that, people who have more oily skin tend to really love it. That said, it's also great for any skin type, really. Just if you want to either have that dewy, glowy look, or if you want to have a little bit more of a matte look, is kind of the main difference there. And then the application technique is, of course, a little bit different. So for the Purepressed, we would recommend applying this with our handy brush. And so you would just pick up the product like this and sweep it onto the skin.
I love the handy brush. It feels like a nice sort of soft massage.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, let's see here. Oh, Beverly. Beverly said, I'm 64. The products work beautifully for me. The mineral powder looks natural and not heavy on my skin. Ah, happy to hear that.
There you go. Just ask Beverly.
Exactly. Beverly just gets it. She also said, I wear the suntan and the pressed powder, the pure pressed. Is there the same shade in a primer? I don't know if she meant primer or Amazing Base.
Yeah, so Amazing Base, yes. So check it out.
Yes. And again, if you want to go to one of our partners or go to a store, the link I sent in our little chat feature, you'll be able to get shade matched and all these questions in person as well. But let's see here. Oh, Grace, this is a great question. I feel like I've seen this pop up occasionally, and I think this was submitted as well. Is the Glow Time Stick, which you and I just applied, will it remove any of the powder foundation? And or if so, how would we prevent that?
So the great thing about our Glow Time sticks is that they were formulated with a lot of unique ingredients. So they are a little bit more, so first of all, they have jojoba seed oil, which is really beneficial for oily skin, for dry skin. It's actually going to help to control sebum production. And then they also have a little bit of mica to them. But the great ingredient that I love in this formula is something called Saracen wax. So it's a vegan version of beeswax. And because of that, they have a higher melting point and they're less likely to have any grab or pull. They're not going to break. And so because of that, they just glide so beautifully on the skin over your powder formulas. So, and I know Katie and I are both wearing powders. We just applied them right on top. So you have a couple options with applying these. They do come in 8 different shades. So we have 5 blush shades and then 3 highlight shades. This is Enchanted that I've used, which is kind of a nice, almost like a pink and peach combination.
I'm wearing, this is my favorite shade. This is Aura, which I don't know if that's coming through, but
yeah, Aura is beautiful. It's kind of more of a little bit more of a red.
Yeah, I know, and I love putting it on my eyes. I think initially when that was recommended to me, I was a bit scared, but now I wear it, I think, almost every day.
Yeah, they're really versatile. You can wear them on your eyes, your cheeks, your lips, even. You can wear them on your your teeth.
Your teeth, exactly. They're multi-purpose. Shades are flattering.
Your décolleté. But you can either apply them with a brush or you can apply them actually straight from the component. So a lot of great options there.
Love that. I think we may have skipped over this, but this question came up quite frequently before we started this. When do I put concealer on if using mineral powder foundation?
Great question. So this is the tip that I actually learned from Jane herself. And that is that our minerals have such great coverage that so typically with traditional products, you would apply your concealer first and then your foundation afterward. Well, that is different with our products. So we recommend applying your foundation first and then your concealer afterward. And part of that is, again, because of the great coverage that they provide, but also texture-wise, it just tends to work well. Now, Katie and I were just discussing this. So you can also use our powder formulas as concealers. So again, they have that great multifunction, the foundation, concealer, the SPF benefit, and then also skincare benefits. But there are a couple of ways that you can do this with the new refillable brush. So you have the option with this to either lock it in the open position or the closed position, okay? And if you find that you're getting too much product, I would always recommend taking the little indicator here. So there's a little arrow. If you put it right under the label or the logo here that says Jane Iredale, that will give you half the flow. So that way you have a little bit more control when you're applying your foundation. The other thing you can do is you can go ahead and turn that dial so that the brush is almost all the way down but hasn't clicked in place. So it's like this. That will make it even more concentrated. And so you can go ahead and tap that product out theoretically. Let's see. Tap the product out.
I've been tapping it on the side. Like it just pops out like that.
Yeah. So you get a little bit of that product on your hand, or you can just use this little concentrated brush for any concealed areas that you'd like to cover, or any areas that you would like to conceal.
Got like a little zip friend. It's moving on.
So yeah, me too. So right here, so I'm just going to tap it on there. And then we have a little here too. So it's a really versatile little tool, or you can always, again, tap it on your hand or on a palette if you have one by chance. So you get the product there, and then you can pick up really any brush, but an eyeshadow brush, a concealer brush, and then just really pat that product into place wherever it is that you need it. I also love this product, and all of my makeup artist friends agree, as an under eye setting powder, because again, it has a little bit more of that luminous finish, so it's not going to look dry or cakey at all in the under eyes.
Totally. Let's see here. Oh, so we talked a little bit about this, about summertime, humidity. How would you apply this product, or maybe a powder in general, stay fresh, not look cakey? What are your sort of top tips on that? And why are minerals good for that?
Yeah, so minerals are going to be a lot more lightweight overall. In fact, we call them feather light on the skin. You don't feel them. They're extremely lightweight. But I would say your best friend for that kind of like summertime refresh when it comes to your mineral makeup is really going to be your hydration spray. This is not only beneficial to use before application, after application, but this is one of my favorite 4 p.m. touch-up products. And that's because it just refreshes and revives everything, and also gives you kind of like a spa-like experience when you're just sitting at your desk. So
exactly. I always have to have one with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I have one in my car, one by my bed, one at my parents' house in case I forget the one at home.
Yep, exactly.
Because you always got to have your hydration spray.
And my friends always take them from me, so I like have to have multiples preemptively, I feel like. Let's see here. Anna asked a question about the Glow Time BB cream. She says, I use my fingers for my face. Well, with the brush, I'm not sure, Anna, I understand your question. So if you can retype it and let me know. I think she's asking about fingers versus brush for something like the mineral BB cream formula.
Yeah, so with that formula in particular, it's really about using it sparingly. That is kind of like a little goes a long way product. So we recommend only using about the size of 2 BBs for your whole face, neck, and décolleté, because truthfully, that product has such great coverage that you don't need a lot. It covers all your sins.
Yeah, it really does. That's a good one. All right. Oh, I know we've chatted a little bit about this, and I shared the link for the store locator again, but how would you, maybe you can't get to a store, would you recommend using our foundation finder quiz online, or how would you go about doing that?
Absolutely. I love our Foundation Finder quiz. It is a resource that not a lot of people know about. Our partners use it, our consumers use it, our clients use it. And the reason for that is because it's so easy and it's so accurate. So absolutely, go ahead and try out our Foundation Finder. Let us know what you think, but it will absolutely direct you to the right place.
Exactly. And while you're there, you can go to the store locator, find your local store. So we chatted about this a little bit, and I talked a bit about some eczema, but in addition to Amazing Base, what other sort of general Jane products would you recommend for things like redness and rosacea?
Yeah, so our Powdery SPF is actually another one that I highly recommend. It has a montmorillonite clay that's going to be incredible for any redness or irritation in the skin. All of our mineral powders, whether that be blushes, eyeshadows, anything that comes in kind of that pure pressed form, has some really great soothing, calming, and anti-inflammatory antioxidants. So those would all be great products to use to help kind of calm anything down. Like I said, our Glow Time sticks are one that you wouldn't necessarily think of as a traditional soothing and calming product, but we love to recommend this to people who have redness or rosacea, specifically in the cheek area, because again, that jojoba seed oil is really going to help to calm down that irritation. So there's so many products in the line that will really assist with so many different skin conditions. That's one thing that's really exciting about working for this brand, is that we hear so many stories of people who just switch to our makeup. They don't change anything else about their regimen, and their skin gets dramatically better. So
That's what happened to me. Exactly. I know I had issues with acne scarring. The primers helped with that. And in general, my skin feels very soothed. I feel like I used to use a lot of products, and especially like when I've used retinol in the past, it's been very harsh. So nothing but A++ content for me in terms of Jane products. Oh, great, Pam. I'm glad that that link is working for you, so everybody can see that store locator. So I know we've kind of chatted through this in general, but why might one pick, let's say, the sifter of Amazing Base over the new flow-through brush, or vice versa? Would you recommend having both?
great question. So yes, I would recommend having both. I am certainly that consumer that uses both on the daily basis. I have this one on my vanity, and this one goes with me wherever I go.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I mentioned this earlier, but the sifter is really great for giving that really targeted amount of coverage. It's still buildable, but using that brush just gives me more control, I feel like, in areas where I really need to conceal. I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, a lot of melasma. And so because I want that coverage aspect, this is a great way to go. With that said, the refillable brush is also a great option. So this gives you a little bit of a more blended look. It's a little bit more buildable. It gives you kind of more of like a lighter coverage application that you can build. So it's a little bit more all over even. This is a little bit more targeted, if that makes sense.
Totally does. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that assessment. But this is something that I need to be better about, is cleaning my brushes. And I am curious, and this question came up as well, how often would you clean this brush, and how?
Great question. So we demonstrated earlier how you can just pull this guy off. So it is magnetic. So the brush itself just pops right off, which is fantastic. If you are using this on clients, so if you are one of our partners and you're using this in your location on other people, you would want to clean this brush between clients with our Botanical brush cleaner, and then shampoo it fairly frequently. I would say as often as you can. If you're using this for personal use, a great rule of thumb is once a week. So maybe or every 2 weeks. I say once a week. I think most people probably do every 2 weeks, but shampoo your brush thoroughly. The great thing about these is that they are synthetic, so you can actually use any type of a cleanser with them. And you'll just lather our brushes up in your hand with that cleanser, and then rinse under lukewarm water until the water runs clear. Then you'll wring it out in your hand and thoroughly remove the water. And then this is the most important part. So you always want to lay your brushes flat on a surface on top of a towel or a paper towel, and not upright in a cup. And the reason for that is because if you keep your brushes upright after you wash them, that water will actually fall into the ferrule of the brush, or the area where the brush is, the brush hairs are collected. It will loosen them up and you'll start to lose brush hairs. So again, lay it flat to dry and let it dry overnight, and you should be good to go. You can just place it right back on that magnet and take it with you.
I felt like I was sort of a flight attendant explaining. I will say, if you're sort of like an anxious, fiddly person, this is also just fun to play with. I've been in meetings where I just sort of will click it up and down. So, you know, for no other reason, I would get it just for that and the sifter. Let's see here. We've gotten most of our questions in, which I'm very proud of us, Amy. You and I are usually very chatty. But let's see here. Does anybody else have questions that have come up through the course of our conversation about the minerals, application tips, anything else? Let's see here. Wow. I think the only other thing people were curious about leading up to this were things about differences between Purepress base and Amazing Base. And we've talked a little bit about that. Oh, let's see here. And apologies, I don't know if it's Susan or Suzanne asked, does the Purepress base have extra anti-acne ingredients?
No, so it doesn't. So the formulations are very, very similar, as I mentioned. We do use a pine bark extract in the pressing process, which will assist with acne as well. But no, it's really, again, all about that finish. So for those of you who, you know, do have acne that is oily acne, you may prefer that semi-matte finish. If you have more dry hormonal acne, you may prefer Amazing Base, which gives you more of that dewy look.
Yes, that's very much so me. As I've aged, I've changed my finish and as what my skin needs. We're getting a lot of questions about color and undertones. So, I mean, maybe we need to do another class on that in the future, but Lori specifically asked how to choose color with Glow Time Stick if you have yellow undertones.
Great question. So a lot of that is really going to be personal preference, but I would say you can't go wrong with a true pink blush. So what that's going to do is if you have more yellow undertones and you're applying something that's a cool color on top of it, it will neutralize it again. So warm plus cool equals neutral. And so it'll give you kind of like more of a lighter pinky peachy look, which would be really beautiful on a true warm skin.
Yeah. So for Glow Time Sticks, that would be like a mist, you would say?
Yeah, mist would be a really great one, or enchanted, which I use today, which is kind of in between. Aura is another one that would be really good for that.
I love it. Let's see here. Oh, lots of questions on Glow Time Sticks. Is there a color that's similar to the Sunset Blush Compact? Do the Glow Time Sticks work on 50+ skin?
Yes, the Glow Time Sticks are beautiful on all skin, but they have a really fine mica in them that give them just a really nice glowy look, which would be beautiful on any skin, particularly mature skin. But I would say the closest to Sunset actually is going to be the one that Katie used. So Aura would really be the closest that we have to kind of like that bright, bold, orangey red.
Trying to do this in the camera. I don't know if I'm succeeding. Yeah, this is my favorite. I wear this all over, lips, eyes, cheeks. I just love it. And it's like butter. It's beautiful when it applies. Oh, this is a great question from Pam. I know we addressed this a little bit, but how do you make sure you aren't using too much?
Great question. So the great thing to know about makeup and mineral makeup in particular in ours is that, as I mentioned, a little goes a very long way. So I would always start slow. It's always easier to add product than it is to take product away. So I would apply a little bit, see how it looks, and then, keep going as you need to. You can always add coverage in the area where you have any kind of skin issues or ailments that you need to cover.
Yes, I completely agree and have learned that the hard way all of my life that you can't take away. It's easier to add. Let's see. Oh, this came up and I know we've addressed it slightly, but which foundation is best for skin with large pores? And I know we talked a little bit about this with the primer, but I'd love to hear you speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah, so I would say it's not really about the foundation formula. It truly is about the primer. The primer is what's going to be the perfect product to kind of set the stage. It's going to fill in any lines, any large pores, and really just give you that even canvas to start from, so that when you apply product on top of it, it's going to give just a beautiful finish. But again, minerals are really great for any kind of skin that does have texture, because again, they sit on the surface of your skin. So they fit like a second skin, not like a sweater. So you don't feel them, but again, they're just going to give you kind of that more comfortable and more smooth looking finish, especially with the milling process that ours go through.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Melissa said, thank you for answering my questions and for this informative session. Can't wait to see more of these and can't wait to place a new makeup order.
Well, great.
Melissa, keep us posted.
Melissa.
Yeah. All right, we're a little bit over time, so thank you everyone for joining us for a full hour. But Amy, anything else you'd like to add about Amazing Base or our mineral powders in general?
I just want to share that I'm just so proud to be the person that gets to share this story with the world, because Jane was so forward thinking and ahead of her time, and it just is such a beautiful product that I hope all of you try. And I know at the beginning of our session, Katie, you asked me what my favorite product is. Well, guess what? It's actually Amazing Base. I use this product every single day and really just can't live without it. So I hope if you take nothing else from today's session that you learn that.
I love that. And that's truly amazing. Yeah. I've not said that word more in my entire life than I have in the last couple of weeks. And now I can't stop saying it. All right, everyone. Oh, Suzanne said, if I would be interested in a professional webinar, should I ask our rep? Does that sound about right? Yeah.
So for our partners, our education team does provide monthly webinars. So you can access that schedule from your territory manager if you are a partner of ours. Otherwise, tune in next time we have a fabulous launch, because we'll be bringing these classes forward to you there as well.
We sure will. Thank you, everyone. If we didn't answer your question, please send a note to beautyadvisors@janeiredale.com. We'll hit you up there. You can reach out to us on Facebook via PM or on Instagram via DM. And we'll see you next time. Have a beautiful afternoon, evening. Amy, it is always an honor and a pleasure to spend time with you. And we'll see you all soon.
Such a pleasure. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.